Raw, Smackdown Live. Which of these had the better performances this week? And 9 times out of 10, it will be Smackdown, and this time was no exception. This is the go-home shows for Crown Jewel, and it was a good showing for Raw, but as usual, in our opinion, SmackDown is always going to be a better performance. With storylines and the packages, promos, everything about it seems to always deliver a lot better than Raw. There's many speculations to that as why that happens, but in this particular episode, we're going to go in and give our reviews for both Raw and SmackDown. Starting the show for Raw, we actually have Baron Corbin holding the title, the strap, as if he earned it or something, and it just kind of looked a little weird having him hold it. But, a surprise entrance, we had Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar showing up, which I think was a good touch for Raw because they have been feeling a little flat. But having Brock Lesnar, it's good TV. Just seeing him on there. Of course, he didn't say anything. He delivered that F5 to Strowman. It was just get in and get out, just kind of thing to start up the Raw show. How did you feel about seeing Brock Lesnar?
Man, honestly, I didn't even think he was going to show up. I was actually surprised that he showed up. I thought it was a huge pop in the crowd that he ended up showing up. So I had no complaints about him showing up. I'm glad he did. I'm glad that it built up the story and the build-up for the Universal title was really there. So, yeah, overall, man, I liked it.
The first match of the night here, we actually see Lashley versus Finn. This is the rematch from last week and Finn winning last week. And this time, again, I'm glad it was not a squash match. So we got to see Finn doing his thing again, building up his stock again, because Finn lost a lot of stock doing this mid-card stuff. And so him working with Lashley, it's helping both of them out. It's helping Lashley, build better dominance, but, not making Finn look weak. And Finn can work with anybody. So this time was no exception. Finn delivered again. He still won because of Leo Rush's DQ by pushing Finn off the top rope. I just wish it would maybe didn't have that effect. I think either one of them could have just won cleanly or just give Lashley the win clean, as opposed to Leo Rush getting in there by DQ. It just didn't sit right with me on this one. How did you think? How did you look at that?
Honestly, at the end of the match, you could tell it's a heel move. Leo Rush is going to be the heel, and Bobby Lashley's going to be the heel, so it's kind of an anticipation. Even though it was a DQ, like it was a disqualification at the end, even though Finn Balor might have got the win, it still doesn't take away from the overall view that they have. So it actually, it built up to it. Finn might have another win on his belt, whether it's a disqualification or not, but at least it gives him an opportunity to continue having that feud moving forward and potentially, maybe, taking advantage of that in Survivor Series.
Yeah, but the only thing is it makes Bobby Lashley look a little weak, in my opinion, because he has to have Leo Rush, the small guy, come save him because he was about to get the coup de grace landed on him.
It's funny you say that, man. I don't know if you kind of had this feeling, but when Leo Rush kind of came in, it was like, hey, man, get him up. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, who's the henchman? Who's the leader over here? Like, at first I'm thinking Lashley is he's supposed to be the one that's supposed to be rising to the top, but then Leo, in a way, kind of took over. It made it look like Bobby Lashley was Leo's henchman or something like that, kind of like his worker, And I kind of didn't really understand that vibe in that sense. But yeah, I see where you're coming from.
And leading after this at match, actually, we see Leo Rush getting a text message that him and Lashley need to go see Baron Corbin. And we actually see that Lashley is now in the World Cup tourney, replacing John Cena, who obviously earlier over the weekend we found out that he is now declining going to Saudi Arabia. So obviously they needed to replace him. So now they plugged in Lashley, which is a fine choice. I think that's a good choice. Between the 8 competitors in that World Cup tourney, you have 4 faces and 4 heels. So it matches out, it evens out. That's the 50-50 booking, I guess you can say, for WWE. Another thing we see here is just a quick little video thing of Survivor Series, and it's going to be champ versus champ, Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. I think this match is going to be a damn good match. Becky is going to go all out the same way she went against Charlotte. And we're going to get to see, I think, more of a hard-hitting more Ronda than we've seen in the past. So it's a good thing. Ronda's getting more polished, so I think having her work with Becky, even though it's a one-off thing, obviously Survivor Series, I think it's going to be a really good thing. As far as who takes that one, that's yet to be seen. Let's just see what's going to happen here in the next few weeks. Obviously, storylines and everything can change. But I thought it was a good thing doing a champ versus champ match here. We'll see if the men have something like that going on too.
We usually do a champ versus champ match all the time, and I mean, honestly, with Becky and Ronda, I kind of had mixed emotions about it. I mean, yeah, Becky Lynch is getting a lot of hype right now, but I mean, I think we all would have wanted, or rather wanted, Ronda Rousey to go against Charlotte Flair. I mean, that's already a huge match on its own with two great talents. But I think they're still holding off on that until WrestleMania. Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey right now going against each other. I mean, I think I would already call it, and I would just say Ronda would win it. But I mean, I guess it's yet to be determined as far as the storyline, like you said. But I mean,
I don't think either one of them can afford a clean loss. So if Becky wins, you put a lot of into Becky winning so far. So I don't think having her lose to Ronda would benefit her. So I think maybe having her win as, an underhanded way, that wouldn't hurt Ronda. And that'll keep adding on to Becky and in her, heel role.
Well, if they're trying to make Ronda into kind of like the next Brock Lesnar, I don't see her also losing. Like in the male version of Brock Lesnar, he's always been dominant. He's always winning the title. He's always retaining. He's always been winning. And I'm thinking that that's the angle they give Ronda too. Wouldn't you agree?
Is Brock Lesnar the Universal Champion right now?
Man, we all know why he lost the title.
Well, I'm just saying, you can't say that he's always winning. He's not always winning. It all depends, man. It all depends if you're going to do the business and who you're going to drop it to. I'm thinking storyline-wise, how are you going to make both of these get out on the other side? Booking, it's good. Put them both together, that's fine. But you can't hurt either one of their stocks, right? So the only way you can do that is having the heel win with a heelish tactic. That way it doesn't hurt Ronda's stock. Because she still has to build up to Royal Rumble. And then she has to still build up to WrestleMania. In which case, like we were just saying, yeah, we could have Charlotte, that Charlotte-Ronda match for WrestleMania. But again, this is months in advance here. We don't know if that's going to end up happening. I know that it would be in the works, but you never know with injuries or anything that can occur, between now and then. Now, after this match, after that little promo segment here, we actually had the 10-woman tag match. Lita, Trish, Natalya, Sasha, Bayley versus Mickie James, Alicia Fox, and the Riot Squad. Not too much on this nothing really big on this match. At first, and it kind of sucks too, because 10-man, 10-woman tags, or 8-man tags, whatever, it could really be a clusterfuck if you don't set a good pace to start with. And this match was no exception. With the 10-woman tag, just to start off with, it was a cluster. It kind of didn't seem like they understood what was happening here as far as the beginning, just getting the psychology and getting the move in right. But later, as the match progressed, they figured it out and it was fine. I really didn't have any points on this one. It was just pretty quick. Natalya wins with the sharpshooter on Alicia. Alicia always taking the L, so she knows how to hold it anyways. After this match, we actually see a promo with Nia Jax and Ember Moon. And there goes Nia again. Flips again to heel. And again, I don't care if she's heel or face, but keep her in one role. I don't like the flip-flop here. And here she goes again flip-flopping. So I'm not going to add too much onto that one. If you had anything else to say on it, or if you had any points regarding that Ember Moon and Nia Jax promo.
Honestly, man, I'm not really that invested with Nia Jax either. I mean, I don't even know what they're doing with her anymore. I think they really lost a lot of potential with Ember Moon and maybe bringing her up, but, if that's what they want to do.
Yeah. Next, we actually see Elias, and Elias is still going strong as a face. He's not harassing the crowd and bringing down the crowd and shitting all over the crowd anymore, which is a pretty good thing. He's so over as a heel, having him go over as a face is going to be fine. It's still organic, and we're going to get to see this. And he's still entertaining. Obviously, in this little segment that he had out in the ring, he actually goes to go see Baron Corbin, ends up getting attacked by Jinder. This leads to Elias versus Jinder. And, Jinder putting in his work. We haven't really seen much of Jinder Mahal. He got his henchmen back and all that kind of stuff, but we still haven't seen much of Jinder Mahal. But Elias, after he lets, Jinder get all this shit in, it's fine. Let's get the fuck out of here already. Elias gets the win. It was a quick in and out, which is fine. Again, you're still trying to book him as a face, so he let him do these mid-card heel stuff. I think having Elias start working the ranks, though, trying to get up into the title picture as well would be pretty cool, especially when you have Strowman and, especially when you have Strowman and Drew McIntyre at those top roles, and you need another, face to actually compete against those guys. So I think building Elias right now and maybe saving him for a few months later or down the road will be pretty cool.
I've always liked this style, man. At first in the beginning, I wasn't really into his whole gimmick, man. But it really just grows on you, man. And next thing you know, before you know, you start walking with Elias.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think that his in-ring performance is great, and yeah, I agree with you, man. We need to put, they need to put him in there and give him some kind of title role eventually. I think that with the transition that the WWE is making right now, I think a lot of the guys are going to start coming up, and there might be a big change as far as who's going to be up for the titles coming up.
Yeah. After this, we had just a quick thing, just the now we have the full bracket tournament for the World Cup tourney. 7 matches in total, tournament style, 7 matches in all. And, Kurt cuts another promo package. Still looking strong. I hope we get to see Kurt maybe make it to the finals, and we'll see, he'll probably lose to somebody from SmackDown or something along to that effect. We'll see what happens on that end. I'm sure he'll get over Zig. So we'll see what happens after that match, though. He might just be him and Seth in the quarterfinal. So I think that was a good package. It makes him look strong. You got all his shit in, all of his accomplishments and all that kind of stuff. So it's good stuff still. His story doesn't get old, in my opinion. So you can put that bitch on repeat, and it's still gonna be good shit. Now after this, we actually had Ascension versus Glorious Bobby Roode, Chad Gable versus AOP. I'm not a big fan of this, tornado, triple threat match, whatever the hell they called this shit. It was a quick match. It wasn't really too big of a deal. It was Chad Gable doing his kind of like a rolling German suplex and Bobby doing his neck breaker on the way down. That was like I said, it was a quick match. That was their finish right there. A couple people got their shit in, whatever. But, AOP came in after they won and just squashed them. So then, to me, in my opinion, this whole AOP, which is fine. You want to book them strong, that's fine. They still lost in this match. Why didn't they get the W if you want them to get stronger and get some real heat on them? Why are you waiting until after the whole damn match is over? I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing there, but I think it's an injustice to Bobby what they're doing here with him tag team with Gable. I think Bobby just needs to go on his own and stay on his own, but not be, face. I think he just needs to go heel. That's how he's successful in NXT, and he can get over with the crowd being that way. So I don't know if you had any other points on that one, but I just didn't like it. I didn't like this match really at all. It was just something else penciled in together. And after this, we actually see another promo package for Roman Reigns. And this is actually leading to Seth Rollins calling out Dean Ambrose. And it's crazy because as soon as they started showing that video package for Roman, everybody was cheering for Roman. And this is one of the very, very few times we've ever seen the whole damn stadium cheer for Roman. When just last week again, or even the week before and the week before that, everybody was just shitting all over him, and now they're cheering for him. So again, pick a side, it's just, Roman's sick, right? And everybody wishes him the best. Let's, give him his time now. We need to move on to let him get his time in. Let him go have his own thing, because I think it's like keeping the wound fresh here. I don't particularly like it, having, because you keep cutting it open and keep cutting it open every damn chance you get on Raw and SmackDown. You keep doing it, and to me, I'm just like, look, he's out right now. Let him heal, and then we'll see him later. So, anyways, like I said, this actually leads to Seth calling out Dean. Seth saying that it's not about Dean, but Dean wanted to make it about him, calling him an egomaniac and all that, which is kind of crazy, because Seth, we know how Seth was, just a couple of years back when he was holding the WWE Championship and the U.S. Championship. That was an egomaniac, but that Seth was a bad dude. And now this Seth, he's over with the crowd. He's over as a face. So he calls out Dean, but Dean comes out and doesn't say anything. He puts he puts his stick to his mouth, but he doesn't really say anything. He gives a nasty snarl, walks away. That's fine. I like that they did that. Just, hey, you don't even say anything, just come out there, just show your face and get the fuck out, and that's fine. Let's be done with the World Cup tournament and this whole thing now, and then next week we'll keep going into this, because obviously we need another program for both of these top guys, right? I don't know how you felt about that, if you think that Dean needed to say anything, or if Seth, maybe should have gone on a different path.
No, man, I think that they kind of, personally, I just feel like they missed an opportunity. I mean, this has been expected for a long time for Dean Ambrose to turn heel. At some point, they were going to go ahead and turn heel, and it was going to, go bad for one of them. And at this point, it's kind of like, well, I think that, we all know that Dean has good mic skills. Seth has good mic skills. And I feel like, they kind of were holding off on that whole, performance for another week. But honestly, I feel after all the anticipation, all the waiting for, and then him finally turning heel in the most unpredictable moment, and to not take full advantage of it the next Monday, to actually maybe put a little more fuel to the fire, or give a little more excitement, I just feel like that maybe wasn't the right path to go by. Although I get the anticipation to build, I just feel like maybe they could have given a little bit more.
One thing I noticed, and I don't know if you did as well, but are they still the tag champs? Neither one of them were holding the straps, right?
Yeah,
so
I don't even know what to do with that thing. That's true. But if you saw, you might have seen that in the brackets when they were showing the brackets, that Seth Rollins had both titles. So he had the tag team title and the Intercontinental title on his shoulders when they were talking about the tournament. So, as far as I know, they're still tag champions, but I don't know what they're doing with the titles right now.
Yeah. I guess we're going to find out come next weekend after this whole Saudi Arabia trip. After this, we actually see a quick little match, which in my opinion was weak, so I'm not going to really talk much about it, but it was Nia Jax versus Ember Moon. Tamina comes out, towards maybe 2 minutes into the match, whatever it was, and does a stare down with Nia. Doesn't do anything, just stares her down, and then backs out. I think it was weak. I think that was just retarded in all kinds of different ways, because, well, what exactly was the point of that? You didn't put hands on her. You didn't team up with her. You didn't do anything to Ember. What exactly are you staring down? You're looking at her last meal or something? Come on. What exactly are you talking about here? This is Nia Jax, right? She's a big, she's a beast of a woman. Damn, you don't fuck with her, right? Tamina, they also try and book her that way, but you can see that she's just not, she's not like that at all. So I don't get what this stare down is leading to, whatever. After this, actually, we see this ridiculous, lucha house party. We haven't seen any of these lucha guys in a while now, right? I personally like, Lucha Lotus and all that. I enjoy those guys, man. These guys are in it. They can work with anybody. It doesn't matter. They can be big, fat, tall, skinny. It doesn't matter. These fuckers can work. Okay, it doesn't matter who the fuck they're working with. So, this whole lucha house party thing, I don't dig it. I hope it was just a one-off thing, whatever. Just for the fuck's sake of just taking up time. And we'll see what happens after this one. After this, we have another I like Ziggler, heel Ziggler, right? But I think it was just a kind of a weak thing, him doing his thing with Apollo Crews. Ziggler cuts a promo, of the World Cup and everything like that, but Apollo Crews comes out, interrupts and all that. So, again, I thought it was just a bullshit little thing. Obviously this was just another time killer, just leading up to the actual closeout of the show being Taker and Kane doing their promo, calling out DX. In my opinion, this segment took way too long. Kane's delivery is just too soft. Taker, he's magic on the mic because everybody shuts the fuck up when he sings. I'm sorry, when he talks. But damn, like Kane is not on that same level. He's not believable on that stick. But it's just taking too long. The deliveries are way too long. They're way too drawn out. And you can black out the crowd all you want to keep them shut up. But I was amazed that the crowd didn't start yelling out what chants towards Kane because of how long he was taking to say his shit. Now, again, this actually led to DX did come out. They were playing a little ruse game or whatever, and it was just Triple H that came out to the actual main entrance there. Shawn Michaels comes out of nowhere and super kicks Taker. And, of course, we see Taker take the fall, take the bump, and then he does his, rise from the dead type of revival, I guess you can say.
Classic.
Yeah, and it's cool. He really laid down there for a while, too, like as if he had took 6 of those fucking super kicks, man. Or Sweet Chin Musics, whatever. But, we'll see. Again, this whole segment took too long. I didn't think it was that great of a go-home show for Raw. There was too many questions, I think, in a lot of the top talents as far as what's happening. That for a go-home show, that it's leading up to Crown Jewel right now. What's happening? I think it was just a little bit too many questions happening. So, anyways, like I said, that was just the Raw portion right there. Moving right along, we're actually going to start with the Smackdown review here, and this is.
Now you already messed that up right there, brother. You mean the A show, Smackdown Live? I'm telling you, man, the beginning, the very beginning of the show itself already gave me chills, man. Chills, hype, excitement. And I know we're gonna get into it, but we're talking about a main event caliber match in Crown Jewel for the kickoff of SmackDown Live. How can you start up a show any better than that?
I give you that it is a great match, but Daniel Bryan is not the main event. Daniel Bryan, I've said it many times here, and I'll say it until I pass over. Okay, Daniel Bryan, what we have now is not the same Daniel Bryan that we used to know from 3 years back. Okay, 4 years back.
I get it,
so. But yes, it was a damn good match. It came early, and I get it. It was a damn good match. In my opinion, Bryan is going all out, but he's not smooth. He is not. He just literally is just not smooth in his movements, in his deliveries. AJ carried that match, and you can see that as he's the one getting that pace in. How he wanted the match to go.
Some of the botches in the match, some of the moves in the match. I agree with you, man. But although they might not be the Daniel Bryan you remember, man, and maybe AJ Styles, maybe he did carry the match. I'm just saying, I'm over here getting the hype on AJ Styles' performance, and even Daniel Bryan. There were some scenes where Daniel Bryan did take some big hard hits, man. He took some hard hits, stuff from the top of the turnbuckle, from getting thrown over the ropes.
Man, that damn suicide dive, brother. I think the suicide dive is just so overdone, and this dude does it also. And he, his suicide dive led to the little bit of an injury that he had on the knee, and AJ Styles exploited it and was working on that leg the rest of that match, right?
Yeah.
Obviously it's a work, we get it, but still, the suicide dive, I'll get off my soapbox here in a minute. It's just, God damn it. Just stop doing this so goddamn much, because I just don't understand. There's just no other way for you to do it. Everybody has to jump out of the ring. Stay inside that motherfucker, or do something else to not have to do that, because it's so overdone. It should be saved. It should be done, in different instances, or body splash off that damn thing. I don't care, but stop doing this suicide dive. Anyways, Now AJ wins off of a calf crusher on the same leg that he's been working on. Just, to what you alluded, Daniel Bryan, he did his thing. He gave the match, he gave the best performance he could against AJ Styles. Obviously, it wasn't enough. And surprise, surprise, Joe comes out, chokes out AJ. Daniel tries to help, which I didn't think he was going to. But Daniel tries to help, and then he gets choked out too. And this is interesting because this led to, we find out that now it's going to be Joe versus AJ Styles at Saudi Arabia. And this is all part of that whole thing with, just like John Cena not wanting to go to Saudi Arabia. Daniel Bryan didn't want to, but at least he didn't just get dropped off the face of the planet here. He did his job here, and then he's just not going to go to Saudi Arabia.
I think they really planned that out well, man. I mean, like in the beginning of the show, you have Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles doing their segment at the beginning. Just like any other show. Hey, man, why are we going to wait for this? Let's just go ahead and do it right now. And then typically, it never happens. And you see Shane McMahon come out and actually saying that exact fact where we always talk about it, but it never happens. You know what? We're going to make it happen tonight. And I think the fact that Daniel Bryan, wasn't going to go to Saudi Arabia, I think that Smackdown really took advantage of that and actually really made it into a huge opportunity to make that match in the beginning of the night. And then,
I honestly think that this is going to give Daniel Bryan some heat backstage, though, because
I agree. I think that maybe they were thinking of, I'm not sure. Maybe they were thinking of handing the title, maybe not. But I think that this really will hurt his career moving forward, maybe for some time. But honestly, I really don't have any complaints because, Joe, to me, and I'm about to ask you, but Joe, to me, I think Joe and AJ Styles having their feet together is, to me, a lot better than Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. I just think I'm more invested in that. And to ask you that question, would you prefer Samoa Joe and AJ Styles or Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles?
I prefer a real heel versus a real face. So, later on in this actual show, we see Samoa Joe cut his heel promo, looking nasty, looking mean, keeping it simple, nothing too excessive, just giving his message and cut it. That's it. And that's Joe. And Joe is, yeah, man, this penciling in Joe, that's a damn good move because we had months of work between those two cats that you can put him back in there and it's cool. And honestly, Samoa Joe can still win this at Saudi Arabia. You literally don't know. With AJ and Daniel Bryan, I was like, there's no way he's going to drop that title to Daniel. Now, he might drop this title to Samoa Joe. That's no joke, man. So I agree with you. Yes, Samoa Joe is a better alternative, the best alternative you have. That guy is money, and they're going to have another one of those fucking just tough, stiff matches, and that's what I dig. So, after this match here, we actually had a little bit of an entertainment match, right? We had the Trick or Street fight, and this was the Big E versus Cesaro. But I tell you what, man, I marked out hardcore when I see New Day. They do their voice intro, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, here we go again, right? But holy shit, we see the Brood entrance, right? And as soon as we heard that, boom, I was like, oh my God, I just completely marked out of my fucking seat, man. So it was really cool. Everybody was all dressed up, or the three cats from New Day, they were all dressed up as Grand Girl, Christian and Edge. So it was pretty cool seeing that. It was just ridiculous the way they looked at the wigs and everything.
They were like in character, man. They were deep. You could tell they were enjoying it, and they were just, man. They were. I think if anyone were to do that role, also they would enjoy it too. But yeah, it was a huge pop for that. I popped huge for that too, man. It was great.
And it was just cool because they went all out for it. Even Big E at the top of those little steps there, he spat the blood or the mist, the red mist, whatever you want to call it. So it was good. It was all a great work there. It was entertaining. Now, we'll see what happens whenever, come 2019 when they switch over to Fox, because I know Fox doesn't want too much of this type of entertainment. So I hope they keep stuff like this, but just here and there. It does not have to happen all the time. But anyways, in this match, another one, a street fight, right? So everybody was getting involved in different ways. Cesaro looked like more of a ghost than he normally does, right? As pale as he is. But anyways, we see Big E. He actually wins with the Red Mist, or the Vicious Liquid, as Gangrel had called it. He gets his Red Mist on Cesaro, and then he lands his big ending. So it was a quick little match, pumpkins and all kinds of shit everywhere, whatever.
It was pretty enjoyable, man.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable match. I actually thought it was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. When I saw all these fucking props and everything coming out, I thought it was going to be a bullshit piece of shit. But it worked out. It was fine. Now after this, actually, the next match was the return of Shinsuke Nakamura. Is it a return? Who knows, right? We just don't see him too much. But now we have Shinsuke Nakamura versus R-Truth. And this match, it was penciled in together. However, R-Truth, he can work with anybody. It doesn't matter. You can really book him with anybody, and it'll be an entertaining match. This match is no exception. I just wish that they would book Shinsuke better. Now, Shinsuke did win this match, right? But he needs to have a real program. This guy was a top guy, the top guy, for a long time over in New Japan. He comes over here. We had a long time of him in NXT and a good run with him in WWE as a face. Now he goes to a heel ever since doing his fucking program with AJ Styles, and that was it. There's just, we haven't seen anything of him lately. And I think it's a hardcore injustice to him. He either needs to do a real program against a guy like Ray, or flip him back to face and do a work with, Miz or Joe, somebody who's, and him and Joe actually had some fucking heat, in over there in NXT. So I just think he needs to do something else. He needs to have a real damn package, especially if he's holding a United States title. If he's not going to get booked regularly, get that fucking strap off him and put him on somebody else that's going to be on regularly, because that title needs to be shown more. But I'll get off of that here in a minute. But Shinsuke and R-Truth, did you have anything to add on that?
Man, I think the entertainment portion of it, man, just got me. I never thought that the segment, the Truth TV that they did in the beginning would have such a pop, and how they would continue with it now. I was watching the whole thing, and you got Carmella coming in and taking the 7-second dance break, and it just, to me, man, I was very entertained with the match. But talking about Shinsuke, you're right. I honestly thought that, maybe they'll kind of bring R-Truth up, and maybe they'll go ahead and give him the title, because he right now, and it's funny, he has a role right now, even if it's just a gimmick and just for entertainment, because Shinsuke isn't even getting any kind of time. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought they were doing. But no, they give Shinsuke the win on this one. We're like, okay, so what for? What's the purpose? What's the point? He doesn't even have a match in Crown Jewel, man. Like you mentioned, what are they going to do with this guy? So, in a way, I'm kind of disappointed, because they're not really booking him the way he should be booked, especially for someone holding the title.
Exactly. So after this was over here, we actually see just a quick little promo with Becky, adding on to the one-on-one feud that's going to happen with her and Ronda, the one shot that they're going to do here at Survivor Series. Becky, we'll see what happens again, in the coming weeks going to Survivor Series after this whole, Saudi Arabia trip is over with. This is going to be a good match, like we just talked about earlier, so there's no need to really go into that. We'll get more details as it goes. The final match of the night was Ray Jeff versus Randy and Miz. And this was an easy match. It was entertaining, though, just to see all these guys in the ring, though. But giving them their TV time. That way you can see them. They're not lost. They're not just forgotten about in any means. And every one of these cats, obviously, are in that crown jewel, right? They're in that tourney. And as we saw prior to the match starting, Shane McMahon had that little meeting with all these guys and said, whoever gets to the finals, if you lose, you will be fired from Smackdown Live. It's interesting because I don't know exactly who's going to benefit from that. Somebody's going to lose. Whether it is going to be on Raw and SmackDown, we'll see what happens. But if somebody from SmackDown is going to lose that tourney, who is it going to be? I just don't see who it's going to benefit the most. Miz has already been at Raw. He doesn't really need to go back there. I don't exactly know who you would put him with. Randy, he can go anywhere. It doesn't really matter, but I think he fits at SmackDown. Jeff, he fits in SmackDown. And Ray, same thing. He fits in SmackDown. So I just don't see what viable option they're going to have here, at Crown Jewel. But
I hate to cut you off, man. But when we were talking earlier, I remember we had a prediction on it. I think you called Seth Rollins, right, to win the tournament.
To win the whole thing.
And me hopefully called the Miz over to win the show. But honestly, man, I see the point you're making there. But I honestly, I'm rooting for SmackDown to get the W out of the way. I don't see any of them really moving to the Raw. Maybe Randy Orton, just because he's already established on both brands. But
or they can give the nod to Ray. I mean, they can give the. He just came back, right? He's fresh, so.
He just got back, like you said, on SmackDown. I mean, to really give him just a little bit on SmackDown and then just bring in the Raw, they might as well just put him Raw the whole time, or they might as well keep him at SmackDown longer to actually bring in to get the ratings up also.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about this in our prediction show here. We'll probably maybe dive into a little more as far as predictions on it. But, in this match, again, like I said, it was an easy match to give them their TV time. Now, in this match, we actually see it was Ray and Jeff getting the win. It was Ray doing the 619 and Jeff following with the senton. Cool spots. Everybody got their shit in. Randy Orton, after the whole match was over, Randy Orton, of course, RKO out of nowhere, right, to Jeff. Sweet. That's what we expect. What you don't expect is Ray doing his, jump off the top ropes, and Randy Orton catching him in midair, doing another RKO to him, and then one more to Miz for good luck to close the show, right? So it was a good thing just to show how strong Randy is, right? And again, this is still classic heel Randy, who is nasty, and Randy to me is, he's the best. So Randy looking like this strong and everything, I just don't think he would win in the Crown Jewel, not because he can't win, just because he doesn't need to win. He's already too established. He doesn't really need to do this, or he doesn't need to, move on from there. But again, we'll see what happens on that end. But again, like I said, SmackDown was just so much more entertaining than it was compared to Raw. Raw just it just takes too long. A lot of these segments are just a little bit too drawn out for my taste. SmackDown, I believe, goes to the point, straight to the point, punches you in the mouth, and takes off. So that's the way I prefer it. That's the way I like it. And, if you had anything on that end as far as the ending of that match.
And, you kind of, put it all in perspective there. I mean, honestly, I'm just going to say one quick thing about the tournament, man. I think it's an overall great tournament, great matches, great competition. I mean, you have Seth Rollins going against Bobby Lashley in one of the matches. Great fucking match. I'm definitely looking forward to see how that turns out. You got Rey Mysterio going one-on-one against Randy Orton. I mean, you got a bunch of great matches, and I'm looking forward to that. But
it's stacked. To the main event, it's stacked. Yeah.
Yeah. Go back to the main event, man. It was a great show. I think that the Miz and Randy Orton really also sold the show, kind of gave it more of an entertaining portion, worked well together. And, it was a great overall match. Simple, sweet, and to the point.
This was the Raw, SmackDown, go-home shows for the Crown Jewel. That was AJ. This is Professor X. Class dismissed.